on.
Wow. Well, in 2012, Virginia voted more closely like the rest of the country than any other state in the union. It's basically a great weather vane. And the governor's race this year may become the first indication of the GOP's national standing post-shutdown. In the past 9 elections for governor, Virginia has chosen a governor from the opposite party of the president in the White House. But the political winds seem to be blowing in a different, now Democratic direction. Joining me to discuss the national implications of Virginia's governor's race are MSNBC contributor Joan Walsh and Democratic strategist Margie Omero. Margie, you're sitting here, so you're first. This thing about slavery. I mean, someone's saying, don't compare anything to Hitler, don't compare anything to slavery, and you're better off. Here he is, because abortion, unlike slavery, which would be a crime today, you know, if you try to enslave someone, you might just find yourself in prison for a number of years. Abortion is not a crime. You may not like it. It may be morally offensive to you, but it's not a crime. People shouldn't be making these comparisons. Your thought?
I mean, you said that Republicans are looking for a moderate makeover. There is no makeup artist alive that could make Ken Cuccinelli up to be a moderate.
Why they run him? Why are they running him?
Well, he came of age, if you will, in this class of extreme Tea Party folks like Richard Murdoch or Alan West, and sort of fed off the energy he got by being this crusader. And then now realizing that that's not popular anymore, he is trying to paper over these extreme views, and nobody's buying it. And he's just continued to sink in the polls. And look, now he looks like a typical politician who just wants to say anything to get elected, but when he has these incredibly, he said as recently as a year ago. I mean, look, Chris, there's a difference between trying to appeal to women and actually appealing to women. And that's the problem that Ken Cuccinelli has. That's the problem that national Republicans have.
Okay, this will stir the blood of a lot of women watching. If women were not allowed to vote, which they are, of course, Cuccinelli would be winning this race. Among men, Cuccinelli leads Democrat Terry McAuliffe 44-36. By 8 points. So this is the importance of the 19th Amendment right here. But guess what? The 19th Amendment was passed a long time ago, almost 100 years ago, and women are allowed to vote, Joan. Yeah, and McAuliffe leads Cuccinelli by 20 points among women. If Republicans are trying to court the women's vote, Cuccinelli may not be the best standard bearer. Here's McAuliffe's newest ad.
And Cuccinelli tried to ban common forms of birth control.
Even the pill.
Even the pill.
Ken Cuccinelli is just way too extreme.
Way too extreme.
Way too extreme.
Way too extreme for Virginia.
John, I love the fact that one of the guys saying it's too extreme looks like a pretty conservative guy himself. He's got the long hair, looks like a country guy, and he's saying it's too extreme.
It's very ridiculous. I mean, Reince Priebus is going to now have to do an autopsy on his autopsy, Chris. I mean, this is such a disaster for them.
Do you think they paid for somebody to decide that it was unfortunate politically for them to go after women's issues and make women angry? Since it's not an interest group, there are more women voters than men voters.
Right, we're the majority, but they just can't help themselves, and this is the ideology of their party. You know, they keep acting like we've got some guys who have a language problem. You know, they use the wrong language. They talk about rape. It's not just that. It's the underlying ideology of this modern Republican Party actively repels women. And, you know, we saw his gender gap increase during the shutdown because women were more upset about the shutdown than men. Everybody hated it, but women hated it more.
Why was that? Why was that?
Well, I think for one thing, we always see a gender gap on economic issues. Women are more economically liberal. They're more sensible. They may feel more vulnerable. They've always been more of a pro-government voting bloc. And I think we're seeing that in this race, too, as far as the shutdown.
Do you know what you just said, my friend? You just said women are more sensible than men. Now, if I said something like that, I'm just
forgive
saying.
me.
I think you may be right. I can now allow that fact to be true. Because I think in many ways women are more logical. They focus more on the here and now. Men are sometimes going off into their separate spaces. Thank you. Thank you, Margie Omero.
We're pragmatists.
Yes, and we're sentimental guys, us guys out here in the sentimental, just dreamers. Thank you so much for on the serious. I think there's a serious politics to be watching, exactly what you two were talking about. We'll be right back after this.